Alright, how's it going, guys? Coming back today with another review. Wouldn't quite call this one an unboxing because I've already had it for about a week and a half now, and decided that if you've seen any of my other videos, then you know already that I don't review something unless it's absolutely worth my time and me saying good things about. So, let's get started with what comes in the box. Actually, I really like the box it came with too. It's that I'm sure you've seen with a lot of quadcopter boxes, it's not quite cardboard, it's kind of got an outside layer, something a little harder. So, inside the box you're going to see you get a lot of extra bolts, screws, nuts, all that. One big thing for quadcopter racers, mostly professionals, would be the 10-degree tilted motor mounts they come with. And it's going to tilt your motors forward. It looks like a little more than 10 degrees to me, but I tried putting those on the quadcopter and flying it, but when I put those on, anytime you're flying it, it just wants to take off forward. The thing goes about 20 miles per hour forward unless you're holding back on the stick the entire time. So, I'm not going to use those. The thing's plenty faster without the motor mounts. Inside the box, besides the bolts you get and the motor mounts, you're going to get, of course, your bind cable for your transmitter, because the version I purchased is the RTF edition, which comes with a 6-channel radio transmitter. Now, I believe this one is by, what is it, Fly Sky or FR Sky, and to me this looks like an i4 edition. It does come with the trainer plug. It does not come with the cable for it, though. They're fairly easy to purchase. Now, one big thing, though, no matter which version you get, whether it be ARF or RTF, you're not going to get a battery or a charger with it. You're going to need to provide your own battery. For a battery suggestion, I'd say right here is my favorite battery to use with it, and that is a 3-cell 1500 milliamp 35C rating, which 35C, it actually puts out quite a bit. Now, the other battery I purchased to use this with is an 1800 milliamp 3-cell 25C rating. Now, the one thing I was wondering is, I mean, you look at these two batteries together, and for jumping from 1500 to 1800, that extra 300 made quite the difference in the battery size and weight. For some reason, I didn't think it would be that much bigger. But regardless, this quadcopter lifts an 1800 no problem. Actually, in fact, I have a battery right here from a DJI Phantom, the original Phantom 1, and it lifts this battery just fine, which is a 2700 milliamp, a lot lower on the C rating. And I stick to 3S. A lot of people like to use 4S, but I mean, I feel like that gets it too hot. It's too much stress on the quadcopter altogether. A lot of people might argue that, but I don't know. I'm a fanatic about keeping my quadcopters in good shape. Now, the other thing you're going to get would be the regular camera mount, which sits right here in the front. This one is to mount your camera facing forward. Now, when you get the quadcopter, what's already installed on it is the tilted camera mount. So the camera, as you can see, my baby in the background, as you can see, the camera's already on a tilt, I believe probably about the same degree as the motor mounts, 10-15 degree tilt. And the frame to this thing, which I was very happy with, the arms are just so thick on this quadcopter, it is unbelievable. Between the integrated ESCs, which are one-shot compatible, I don't have enough good words to say about this quadcopter. In fact, I might purchase another ARF edition just to keep for the extra parts. Now, I purchased some extra props with it. I got 60-30. I figure the 6-inch props definitely work better with this one because it is a 280 instead of a 200, 250, 230, whatever. All the different sizes. Actually, I believe they have a 210 now by Sharpoo. The 60-30 props, it took a lot more throttle to lift it with them. I was very, very surprised with the props that came on it. Rather than, let's get one of these next to it here. The props I purchased, which are, you know, your average Gem Fan props, as you can see, are very, very easy to flex and bend, which I guess is better for thrust. But they give you 60-45 props on it, not 60-30. The four of these props, I am very, very happy with the quality of the propellers they gave. They don't bend very easy. They're a lot more solid. I mean, these are so much more thick and solid than I thought they would be. And they have done me some justice. They put out a lot of lift. They're really solid. I just wish they were, I don't know, I'm not a fan of the color red, but this quadcopter does look very nice. Now, let's go over the quadcopter itself, and then we'll hit the transmitter. What I've already done is installed the plate for a GoPro, and I saw a video. I wish I could remember who the video was by so I could give them some credit, but there was a review on YouTube and a mods review where they had mounted just the two front rubber balls here on the camera mount, and the other two they zip tied. So I went ahead and did that too, so that your GoPro ends up on the same angle as your camera, or your FPV camera. Now, connected to the FPV camera on this, it comes with a 200 milliwatt, 32 channel, 5.8 gigahertz receiver. 5.8 gigahertz, of course, being the most popular frequency for FPV. Occasionally you get the Wi-Fi frequency with certain quadcopters that are controlled by 5.8. Now, it comes with a battery strap, and what else do we got here? My favorite part. No ugly ESCs all strapped up and taped to the arms. Every wire on this thing, and this is a huge thing, every single wire on this entire quadcopter is this beautiful braided mesh. Let me see if I can get it focused in a little bit here. There we go. It has this really, really nice braided mesh on every one of the wires here, and that stuff really works great for protecting your wires, and it makes it look a lot cleaner, a lot nicer. Now, they also coated the flight controller here in some kind of clear, it looks like silicone to me, which is a really nice gesture by them, because you figure the one downside to this is that the flight control board is on the bottom, but they give you some fairly strong legs here to keep it, up off the ground. I haven't gotten any damage to this thing yet. Now, everything on the entire quadcopter electronically is on this board already. It comes with a really simple plug. I mean, you can use any of your Android chargers pretty much that has a serial bus on it to plug in and program this quadcopter. Now, the program for this, I believe, is either Clean Flight or Base Flight. A lot of people prefer to use Base Flight because this is a Naze 32 board. I believe the exact version is a Skyline 32. And I've never actually had a quadcopter where the ESCs are integrated. This is only my third racing quadcopter. The first one I got, I messed with for a while, and I ended up selling it because I couldn't quite figure it out. As stupid as it sounds, I did not know anything about acro, and I kept putting it in full acro mode and wondering why it wouldn't level itself out. Since I've gotten more into it, I just finally decided to eliminate my GPS quadcopters and switch to racing ones. Reason being because the countless hours I had to sit and tune and program and get rid of toilet bowling. There's just so much crap you get along with the GPS quadcopters. You're sitting there dancing, spinning in circles, sitting at your computer for hours on end, just trying to get this GPS to have a solid hold, which it almost seems to never have. It is very difficult, but especially with the cheap GPS modules you get with some of these $400 or $500 quadcopters with GPS. So I decided, you know what, even with my GPS quadcopters, I found myself never really using the GPS hold, loiter, all that stuff. I never found myself using it. All I did was really fly around and record things. So I decided, you know what, let's eliminate all the trouble I have with the GPS, and let's get a quadcopter that I can get, purchase, and as soon as I get it in, I can lift it right off the ground and fly. And I could not be happier than to purchase this Emax. Everything about this is just awesome, besides the fact that the flight controller is on the bottom. It has all your plugs for any different transmitter you're going to have. Right here you're going to see there is an ESC on and off switch. Let me see if I can focus in on that. let me turn my headlight on here. Let's see, we have, there we go, ESC switch, on and off. And you have your PWM switch, and I believe the other one is just a positive and negative power switch, or a power plug. So you can add a couple more LEDs if you'd like to. Over here, we have another small power adapter right there, power plug. You can plug whatever you want in, a couple extra LEDs, whatever. And over here, I believe this one, what do we have here? UART, or I don't know quite what this one is. I believe because it is a 5-pin, it might be a UART port for your readouts and your telemetry, whatever, your OSD, anything you want to add like that. Also coming with this quadcopter, you get the 5.8 gigahertz, I believe 2.5 dBi gain, omnidirectional antenna. I do not know if it is circularly polarized or not. Now, again with the frame, the top plate, it's weird, it's almost the thinnest plate. Then you have a little bit thicker on the second plate down here. And then the arms are just very thick, solid arms. It is all carbon fiber, and the body should hold up pretty well through crashes. I have not crashed it yet. Now, for motors, you're going to get Emax 2204 motors for the bolting, and they're 2300 kV, which is actually, I don't believe they make anything higher than 2300 kV at the moment. These motors crank like a bastard. And one big thing with this, the second I pulled this quadcopter off the ground, I was just appalled with how smooth it was. I mean, I had winds outside, and this thing was just perfectly balanced. I could have left the controller on the ground, and it would have just held right in its place. Shit, I mean, I get better GPS hold without a GPS. It's kind of sad. Now, let's go over, I believe we got all the parts. We covered the batteries, we covered the motor mounts, the extra plugs. I picked up the extra propellers myself. You get, am I missing anything from the box here? Let's see. Good thing they listed all on the back. There we go, and this is actually perfect. Here, I'll hold it right here for you guys so you can see the stats. It's only 450 grams without the battery. Carbon and glass fiber mix, the motors, that's what they are. Emax BLHeli 4-in-1 12 amp ESCs. They are one-shot compatible, integrated with a flight controller, and as you can see right here, actually perfect. 1300 through 2200 milliamp for your 4S is what you're gonna want to go with, and if you're going to use a 3S, then you're going to want 1300 through 1800 milliamps, which is actually right about where I went, 1500 and an 1800. Sorry, my light's kind of reflecting here. Now you have, as I said before, the Naze 32 board, which is a Skyline 32. Default switch on the transmitter, which, good thing I mentioned it because I forgot to mention. The transmitter does have a small switch on it that you can change from 20 milliwatts or 20 megawatts to 200. I don't see why anyone's going to use the 20. I don't know of any areas where 200 milliwatts is illegal for your transmitter. Now on the back, another great thing is you have a switch for your transmitter power. You can power on and off your transmitter right from a little switch here in case you just want to fly it around without FPV. And that other switch you see to the right is your LED bar. This is a cool feature. There is a very bright LED bar along the back of this, and I've seen a lot of people get different colors. Some people have gotten sort of a yellowish, some people have gotten white. I've seen people get like a weird kind of tan beige color for their light. This is what made me really happy. My favorite color by far being like a light teal blue. I'll strap my battery in here. You're gonna have to work with me here. I got one hand and I don't have my GoPro. It's retired at the moment, so I have to use my phone and do everything with one hand. So let's strap the battery up. and I will show you guys the awesome LED bar I got. There we go. Leave it alone for a second. Now, I got a bright blue LED bar. This thing, I mean, this lights up my whole house at night. If I don't have the lights on and I turn this quadcopter on, my whole house is lit up. And it's just a really cool feature to have. It doesn't suck up too much battery. I usually do use it when I'm flying. I don't really prefer night flying. I'm not trying to lose this one. And actually, one more thing that I do want to mention for the purchase of this. It's $258 US. I ended up getting it for $103 US. Thank you, GEARBEST, for that big time. GEARBEST was offering a flash sale, which is, I believe, a 48 to 72 hour sale where they offer an unbelievable price that you'll never see again. So I jumped on that as soon as I could. I actually was late on one of my bills because I really didn't want to miss out on a $100 racing quadcopter. Now, GEARBEST, I want to say one big thing. I've heard a couple of good and bad things. GEARBEST has done nothing but help me out. Every time I've needed a question answered, they usually answer me within 24 hours. They're very helpful. I gotta say, you know, they are a very busy company. They're not going to give you a thorough, super detailed answer to all your questions, but they will try to get around to you and answer what they can. I've never had a problem with them. Every item I've ordered has come in around the time that it's supposed to. Everything that's come in has been exactly as described. I think the only problem I ever had was not having them send US adapters for my plugs. But everything I've purchased from GEARBEST has been good. They've helped me out. They've given me better deals. And especially the shipping on this was also free. Expedited shipping was free. They use a new company now, which I believe they just started, which is International Bridge. And I guess that's their new mass shipping company. And it got here, I think it took about 8 days to get here, and even that 8 days was kind of torture, but that's fairly fast for coming from overseas and going through customs. Now, before I end this, I do want to go over the transmitter. As I said before, I believe it's an i4 FlySky controller, and these switches over here, you'll have 3 positions. They don't do anything, which is actually kind of good. That gives you some ability to add a couple of your own things to the quadcopter and not have to just be limited to what they put on the controller. I don't know if there's an open channel on it. Yes, they left one channel on. Let me get my headlight in there. They left one open channel on the transmitter receiver. Come on, let's see if I can get my light in there. Yep, that very back channel you can see is open where the red light's flashing. So if you want to add something, this would be the switch to do it with. The other switch here is your 3 modes. The very top one is self-leveling mode, which is really nice. As I said before, it flies great. It flies so smooth. The second mode is also self-leveling mode, but it's a self-leveling mode where you can still do flips. You can flip the thing upside down, but as soon as you let off the stick, it's gonna flop right back to level. And then your third switch, so the second one's almost like a stunt switch, but it still self-levels if you're not, you're mid-stunt and you mess up. The third switch is no self-leveling mode, full acro. I believe it's called, is a full acro mode where you control every movement. You have to compensate for your angles. If you lean it too much to the right, you're going to have to pull it back and level it. But I'm still getting used to that. I'm so used to the self-leveling quadcopters, and I've been trying to get into the racing scene lately, so I'm still working on getting used to leveling it by myself. The joysticks feel really comfortable and nice. The controller is a lot thinner than any of the other controllers that I've used with my quadcopters, which is great because it's much more comfortable to hold on to and easy to grip. You have your bind button down here, on-off switch, and just your basic trim buttons. This controller, I would say, gets about 500 meters of range, which is just about all you need for racing. And I'm very happy with the quality of the transmitter too, whether there is a screen on it or not. Now, with the FPV system, one thing I do want to mention for the people out there, I tried to go cheap. I tried to get an RC805 receiver to pick up my signal from my transmitter there. None of the channels on this worked with it. I went through every single possible channel and none of them ended up matching up. So you're probably going to want to get a 32 channel receiver just in case, you know, some of these frequencies are a little off. They never dial them in perfect. It's almost impossible. So I would pick up a 32 channel if at all possible, and you should do the trick there. Now, actually, let's see here. The box that it came in, like I said, is really nice, but what I did is I cut the part of the box out from the inside that holds the quadcopter, and I took an old tool belt and some shoulder straps from golf clubs over there and made my own kind of backpack where the drone fits perfectly into and rests nice and comfortably on my back. I made a little clip there for my homemade goggles. I made myself a pair of FPV goggles with a cheap 5-inch screen and an old pair of motocross goggles. And like I said, the box that it came with, the quadcopter fits very comfortably in it, so I decided to use that to hold it on my back. You know, I mean, for the price, $258 I would have paid even if I did get it for the $108. I would absolutely buy this again. I would suggest this one to anybody. It is a great quadcopter. I found nothing wrong with it. It's all tuned in great. You don't have to plug it in if you don't want to. I think I am going to plug it in. I'm going to tune up the specs a little bit. I'm going to raise up the sensitivity a little in a couple of my modes just because when I did flips with it, it did flip a little slow. Whereas I see professionals, they can flip in the blink of an eye. This kind of does a big loop when it flips. So I am going to tune it up a little bit. But thankfully, because they put the plug where they did, it's going to be very easy to plug that in and retune it. And I really hope you guys go out and get yourself one of these. You will not have any regrets. It's such a great quadcopter, and I say go with GEARBEST. They're going to have the best price on it. They usually have the best prices. There's going to be bad reviews, people who are impatient, people who didn't get things exactly how they wanted. But if you read through the description and you read through everything and you make sure you know what you're buying, then GEARBEST is not bad. They're actually a great website. And I'd like to start doing some more reviews for them. And if you guys want, I'll send you a link. I'll put the link in the bottom of the description to get this quadcopter. You can also buy it on a few other websites, but Emax killed it with this one, big time. This is a perfect beginner's quadcopter for anyone trying to get into racing. I mean, absolutely perfect. I could not be happier than to start out my racing career with this quadcopter. So, yeah, I hope you guys end up making the right choice.